Dozen Customs. I brought the fenders up. They were in back by the Monty. So I brought the fenders up. I'm debating whether or not to mount them on the truck and finish stripping the outsides of them. It'd be easier to strip with the mounted to the truck. But you won't be able to get to the inside, and where everything mounts, you won't be able to get to that either. So that really just leaves this small part. So I'm thinking that I'm gonna bring them outside and we're just gonna start sandblasting them. So I think that that's what's next. And then once we get these fenders cleaned up, I think we'll get them mounted back on the truck. And then we're gonna mount the hood back on there, I think, and start working on stripping down the hood. I don't think that I'm gonna use the barrel sanders, the barrel sander on the hood. I don't think. Just because it is kind of aggressive. You know, there's a lot of vibration and the tool's heavy. You know, I try not to ever push, but sometimes you end up pushing. And that hood is it's just a huge flat panel with no inner brace. And I really don't want to dent or warp that hood, so I'm thinking that we're probably going to end up just sanding it. It's going to take a while, but we'll end up sanding it. And then the inside, we'll sand what we can on the inside and sandblast the rest. So, but yeah, I think that that's where we're headed next. I do still have to, I stripped the inside of this rail with the wire wheel, and I tried to strip underneath the best I could. We do need to still come through here with, you know, 80 grit on a DA and run around that, so that's something that needs to be done too. But I don't know, I'm kind of looking at getting the big stuff done, which would be the fenders and the hood. And then we can come back and finish up the little stuff. Little stuff takes time, it's tedious and whatnot. But the bigger stuff getting done feels like a bigger accomplishment. So I think that that's the route we're gonna go. So I will see you guys outside when I set up to sandblast. See you guys shortly.
Alright, we're set up outside. Let's hope this goes well. Okay, so we're back in the shop after our sandblasting adventure. I gotta say, man, that sucks. I hate sandblasting. It took about 3.5 hours to sandblast this whole fender inside and out, and it took 2 bags of sand. The sand I get for a little under $10. I think it's $8, and then plus tax, it's still under, you know, $10. So, you know, it's $20 in sand, which isn't horrible. You know, 3.5 hours isn't horrible. But super happy with the results of it. I think I still got a little bit more to hit tomorrow. The inner lip of this, it was really hard to get to with the sandblaster, and then with, you know, trying to stand here and get in at that lip, and it was just shooting the sand right back in my face. And you know, after 3.5 hours of sandblasting, like, I had it. So what I did was I came in and I started with the cookie. You know, these little abrasive wheels. And I started cleaning up some of the area that I couldn't get to. So, like, this is what I'm talking. Like, you could see that I was getting it, but I couldn't get up close and personal, you know, to it. I was kind of having to stand back at a distance. But you can see, like, here, so I came in with that cookie and started cleaning that abrasive wheel, and it's cleaning up real nice. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna continue on cleaning with that abrasive wheel all the way down and around here, and then I'll probably go in there with a wire wheel, and I'll hit where some of the pits are that the abrasive wheel is not getting, and then I'll take it back out in the morning, and you know, we'll spend hopefully maybe just 30 minutes on it, and hit all that with the sandblaster, and hopefully it'll clean all up. But everything else, you know, it cleaned up real nice. I'm super happy with it. You know, the rest I think can just be taken care of with the DA. So, you know, it looks good. I did get my abrasive wheels in for the burnishing tool from Amazon. So we'll have to check these out and see how they do. Like I said, from the reviews that I read, you know, they say that they don't last as long as the Harbor Freight ones, but you get 2 for the same price as Harbor Freight. So hopefully they'll be worth it. But the one thing that I've read in the reviews that are on Amazon, is that people are saying that they're bigger than the ones that are from Harbor Freight, and they don't fit the machine. So people are saying that you gotta take the shield off, or you gotta modify the shield so that it sits back farther. I don't know, we'll find out. We'll mess with that tomorrow. You know, I think, I don't know about inside. I think inside we'll just hit with the abrasive wheels, DA, wire wheel, grinder, whatever we gotta do to clean up the rest of this inside. But the outside, I'm going to hit it with the abrasive wheel on the burnishing tool, and then we'll go on to sanding and wire wheeling and whatever we need to do to get this guy up and going. I still have some things to weld up. There's an electrical piece here, or a ground piece here that grounds ran through on the fender. We don't need that anymore. There are the little fold over guys that the headlight harness used to run through. That this is on the driver's side. I don't know if we're gonna keep these or not. We may end up getting rid of those. You know, the headlight switch is gonna be on the driver's side, so I'm sure everything's gonna run through the dash to the headlight switch, and then it has to go out and back down the driver's side. So it might be a good idea to keep those. There's a couple holes that we got to weld up. I still got to weld up this shock mount thing that's here. Other fender, we got it done already. This side, it's tacked in place, but it's not fully welded, so we got to do that too. I see a couple dings and dents that we got to hammer out, but other than that, I mean, this thing's you know, it's almost ready to rock and roll. So let's get to, I'm gonna do a little burnishing. It's getting late, so I don't know how much noise I'm gonna continue to make for this evening. The evening, it just blew by, it got away from me. So, but anyways, let's clean up, let's continue cleaning up with this little grinder wheel here, or abrasive wheel, whatever they're called. And yeah, we'll hopefully get this cleaned up. Okay, I think we got that cleaned up pretty good. I'm much happier with that. Like I said, I think I'll spend a half hour tomorrow. I'll hit it with the sandblaster again, and hopefully just be able to get, you know, a little bit more of it. I know I'm not going to be able to get all of it like up underneath this lip. There's no way to get to that. I don't care what tools you got or whatever, unless you're dipping these, you can't get to it. So, you know, I think a little bit more time tomorrow, we'll have that cleaned up. But much happier with the way that is looking compared to earlier when we brought it in here. So, let's see if we can pull this little ground block off here. Okay, oh, we got that off. It's probably been on there since it was built. Just hit a little spot with the DA and see what we're gonna look like. that looks pretty good. You know, we got some pitting, but it got cleaned up with the sandblaster, so you know, little filler, we'll be good to go. So we're definitely headed down the right path. You know, there's still a lot of work to do to get these cleaned up. I think, you know, tomorrow we'll get these couple of things welded up here, and get those grounded down. We'll get that inside sandblasted. But my main focus tomorrow is going to be getting that other fender sandblasted. So, you know, the welding may wait till, you know, tomorrow evening, and getting this all DA'd out and cleaned up, or burnished with the burnishing tools. You know, that might not happen for a couple of days because I want to get everything all sandblasted and cleaned up. You know, tomorrow's going to be that fender, and I got to watch the weather. I think that there's this tropical storm that's coming up in between like Florida and Texas right now, and it's supposed to curve right up to us, and we're supposed to get all this rain coming up here in a couple of days. So, but after this fender gets sandblasted, we're gonna work on that hood and work on getting that hood all stripped. So, and then I think after we get that hood cleaned up, I may run over everything. We may spend a few hours and run over everything with the DA. You know, we still got the doors that we got to sandblast inside and out, and that stuff. But I think we may spend a few hours, run over everything with the DA so that everything looks nice and clean. And then we're going to pull the truck outside. We're going to take some pictures of it. And then once we get the pictures taken of it, well, then I can like go through, make sure everything's nice and clean, start the body work and get it primed. And we'll work on one piece, you know, at a time and start getting, you know, stuff body worked and primed. Like, you know, we have the firewall and the floor ready. We'll get those cleaned up. We'll get those primed. You know, we'll do the inside of the fenders. We'll get those body worked out, cleaned up. We'll get those primed. You know, the door jambs, we'll get those all cleaned up. We'll get those primed. So, you know, we're going to start working on like everything I just described is all the inside stuff and get that all primed. And then once all that stuff's all primed, we can start working on the outside, getting all that stuff cleaned up, body worked, and primed. And we'll just start going through piece by piece. That way we're not chasing our tails constantly around the truck, chasing hot spots and surface rust and whatever. So, but anyways, enough talking. I'm gonna wrap up this evening, and we will see you guys tomorrow. So, I'm out. Alright, so we're in from sandblasting the other fender. I ran out of light. We did get the outside section all done. Minus where the old body work is. I'm gonna grind that out instead of wasting the sand on it. We still gotta do the inside. And then we gotta do the inside, down inside there. So there's still a couple more hours at least on that guy. But I figured I'd wrap up the evening with doing a little welding on this shock pocket that we made. I already started welding on it and was like, yeah, I better turn on the camera. So, all right, let's get some welding done. This is one of the things that's been on the list to finish up. I don't know that we'll get it finished up tonight, but getting that started is a good thing. Tomorrow will come out. I have a mosquito. I have a bunch of excess metal that's still in here that needs to be cut back to this what we made. I didn't cut it back until we got it all welded up, because now I can follow that weld line that's inside here. I can show you guys. So now that we welded up the outside, so you can see my weld line where we welded up the outside all the way around. Now I can come back with the cutoff wheel and we can follow all the way around that weld and cut off this excess metal now, and then we'll grind it up, we'll clean it up, and we'll weld everything from the inside, and then we can start grinding down our welds and getting that all cleaned up. I think I'll double check it tomorrow, but when I was sandblasting yesterday, you know, the sandblasting cleans out a lot of stuff, and it allowed me to see any pinholes that were in our welds. This is that fender that we split and shortened. You know, we took like a 1/2 inch out of it and put it back together. If you guys haven't seen that, go way back and take a look at that. There was some fitment issues with the fender and the hood. I believe it comes from factory. The Jeep that I have out here is the same way. Looking up pictures online, it's about 50-50. I don't know if people are correcting that issue because it bothers them as well, but there was a fitment issue with the hood and the fender, and to correct that, I split the fender. We took a 1/2 inch out, and we put the fender back together. So when I was sandblasting those weld lines yesterday, I had several pinholes that became more noticeable. So we just went through and we welded those up, so we'll grind those down as well. We welded up a couple holes from this ground block or whatever this is. I don't know, maybe it's a power block. It looks like it's got plastic in here, so I thought maybe it was a ground because it's all metal bolted to the inside of the metal fender. But I'm seeing plastic in there, so these nuts are separated from this outer piece. So it was probably a power. Anyways, they're all the electrical for the fan and the headlights and everything ran through that, and we're not going to use that anymore. So welded up those holes. Then there was a random hole in there that I don't know where it came from. It wasn't from us. We welded that up. Another thing that we got to do probably tomorrow is that we need to, there's these two body lines here. This, if you watch back in previous videos, this fender is actually off of a Suburban or wagon style of Jeep with a completely different frame. Fenders were completely different. We had to cut these fenders back to fit this frame. So we had actually cut into these two body lines here. So what I did on the other one was we cut up a little bit with the whiz wheel on each side, and I hammered and dollied them flat, and then we welded them up. What we're going to do with this bottom edge is I'm just going to get some of that black door edge guard that pops over the edge of the door to protect from door beams, and we're going to run that along the bottom of this. It has a glue inside there. Once you stick it on there, like it basically glues itself on there, so it'll stay on there. That way we have a nice clean edge, and it has something kind of rubbery to protect the frame from any vibrations of the fender. I'm pretty sure I trimmed everything back so that it was not sitting on the frame, but I kept it close because I did not want a huge gap through the fender and the frame. So with sticking that door edge guard on there, it may be sitting on the frame, who knows. So, but anyways, it'll protect it regardless. So yeah, so that's where we're headed. Also, you know, tomorrow, you know, we're gonna do some more sandblasting on that other fender as much as we can. Hopefully we can get through it with the sand that we have. I'm gonna run up this weekend and go get more sand. I bought 6 bags the last time I was up there, hoping that that would be enough to finish everything up, and it's not. So with everything that we have going on here, you know, the 6 bags that I bought wasn't strictly used on this. You know, it was used on some of the other stuff that we got going on here as well. So I'm probably gonna go up there and pick up another 6 bags or so. So we'll do that this weekend, and hopefully I have enough. I have like, I don't know, a bag and a half left. It took 2 bags to sand down this one. 2.5 bags to sandblast this one. I had about 2.5 bags to sandblast the other one. But it seems, I think that other fender is in a little worse shape than this one. Not in a bad way, but it seems like more paint peeled off of that one, causing more rusty spots than there was on this one. Like the inside on that one is like solid rust, surface rust, but it's all rust. Where this one was all paint. So I think it's going to take more sand to sandblast that one. We'll get it done either way, but yeah, so that's where we're headed. A little sandblasting tomorrow, maybe a little more metal work on this guy. So we got the inside section all sandblasted. Now all we got is the bottom. I'll work on that tomorrow. That first fender that I did, that I you know, spent 3.5 hours sandblasting, but was, you know, out here from setup time to cleanup time, you know, 5 hours. It was just too much. I hate sandblasting, so it was too much. So this one I'm breaking up into sections, and we'll just do, you know, a couple hours at a time until it's done. So tomorrow we'll come back, we'll sandblast the inside. I gotta go pick up some more sand tomorrow, and we'll get going on that hood. I don't think that we'll do the hood tomorrow, maybe Sunday, but we will continue on the inside with some grinding and some welding and whatnot. Pick up where we left off last night. So I'll see you guys inside. All right, we're back in the shop for our horrible sandblasting adventure. I just hate sandblasting. But I was explaining last night how we can follow our welds and cut this out, so that's what we're about to do. So I think we're gonna cut this out, and then we're gonna flatten out those couple of body lines there, like I explained last night, and then we'll weld those up. So here we go. Well, we got all that welded up. Super happy with that. We got a dent here. I'm going to try and hammer out. Alright, I think we're okay with that. Let's see. Alright, well, we got that stuff welded up. I hammered out some dents. So I was trying to straighten out there's a little bit of in that piece up there, and I was trying to straighten it out. I think I got some of it straight, but it was really bad, and we've already hammered and dollied it out once. I was just trying to make it a little better, but it's just a tough piece of metal right there. I don't think I could get it any straighter unless we were to put some heat on it, but I think it's okay. The majority of it we got out. I think the rest we can get with a little bit of filler. So tomorrow, hopefully we're going to do some more sandblasting. Hopefully get that fender over there wrapped up. And then hopefully get this grinded down. Like I said, tomorrow we gotta go get some sand. may go to a car show tomorrow. I don't quite know yet what's going on. I really don't plan out my days until that day because trying to plan stuff out just doesn't work. But anyways, I will see you guys tomorrow. I am out. Alright, back out here on this Jeep to do a little grinding. I just went through the other day when we were out here, I could see some daylight coming through some of our welds, so I went through and I hit them. And then we had moved the fender around a couple of times, and I caught it from a different angle, and I could see that there was still some more daylight coming through some areas. So I had actually went through with the magic marker and I marked them all. And we went through and we welded all those up, and then I actually took a flashlight to it, and I found probably a dozen more that we got those welded up. So, which I knew that had to be done. I did it on the other one already, but I didn't do it on this one. So this one had the most work done on it. But now we're gonna go through and we're gonna just start grinding them. I got some 60 grit on here. Nothing crazy, just gonna work the welds themselves. So I don't know where the best spot is for you guys to see without me blocking your view. Alright, got the inside all grinded up. We started grinding up on the outside. Still got a little bit more grinding to do right here. We got to do the other body lines that are on that side. And then we got to grind down the couple of spot welds over here. But it's getting late. So I'm gonna call it a night here, and we'll be back at this tomorrow. I did go and get, we did pick up a bunch more sand, so probably do some sandblasting tomorrow as well. So I'll see you guys then. Alright, well, I'm just kind of doing a little check-in here, I guess. I have been out here working, just not videoing it because it just seems like it's just kind of repeat of stuff that you guys have already seen going on. I finished grinding up the driver's side fender. We had went through and did all those spot welds in spots where it needed it, and we got that all ground down and cleaned up. This is a passenger side fender. I did finish sandblasting it. But we have this inner lip here that, you know, I couldn't get to on the other one. Same thing. Just gonna use a little cookie to get in there and clean up what we can. And then tomorrow I will come back and we will try and sandblast a little bit better. This cookie does awesome, but it doesn't get in the pits. So we'll come back and we'll sandblast those pits clean. That fender's already done. That fender just needs a little more cleanup, and it's ready for body work. And this one's real close too, so let's keep going here and get this cleaned up, and tomorrow will be another day. Alright, well, that's much better. So we got it cleaned up in there. This side, this fender, I knew going into this fender that this fender was worse than the other one. And the only reason that I say that it was worse, or that I knew it was worse going into it, was because that one on the inside of this, it was red, like painted red. And this side, there was a lot more rust than there was paint. So I knew going into it that this side was worse, just by the looks of it. This one, I want to say it took an extra bag of sand. I've kept track of everything. I think it was an extra bag of sand on this one compared to the other one. And you know, we still got more sandblasting to do. Now on that one, inside this lip, I pretty much got it clean, like down to bare metal, other than some small pits that, you know, follow the whole length of everything, but they're just very small pits. This one is way worse. Like I couldn't even get, you know, the majority of it down to bare metal. So up here you can see, like, I did kind of sandblast this up here a little bit, but I didn't go crazy on it because I'm like, we're gonna hit it with the grinder anyway. So, but you can see that side, you know, that in there is still pretty rough looking. So tomorrow, you know, we'll come back and we'll do the best we can, sandblasting in there. And like I said, we got that one to do too, but that one came out pretty clean. So we'll sandblast that stuff up tomorrow, and then I think it's time to jump on the hood after that. We're gonna jump on this hood, which you know, this hood, I don't know really what we're gonna find. You know, we got to pull the emblems, we got to pull the latch hooks, we got to pull the center trim piece off. You can see how thick this is here and here. Like, you know, it should be like this. So there is definitely filler up here. But, you know, looking on the inside of the hood, like, you know, we got a lot of surface rust. You know, we got some crumblies over there. You know, so, you know, I think this is going to take some work to strip and get this cleaned. But that's next. Hopefully we got plenty of sand. So, like I said, I restocked up on the sand, so we should be good. Hopefully it don't take 6 bags to do that hood, but I'm fully ready to use them all if I have to. So, but like I said, I think that's it. We'll do a little more cleanup on this guy tomorrow, and then we'll start the hood. So I'll see you guys back here to start on the hood. I'm not going to record any more of the fenders until we start getting into body work. So, I don't, like I said, I really want to get the hood in bare metal, and then we're going to put the front end back together, and we're going to get some pictures of it. I do need to decide what I'm going to do with the grill. I have talked with my buddy who owns the truck, and he's okay with me just scuffing it, priming it, and painting it, because it doesn't look like there's any damage to the grill. I don't see any signs of body work. I don't see any rust. It really is clean. It's just got rock chips in it. So, you know, maybe a little sanding, a little scuffing, a little priming. And that guy could be ready to go. But I would like to do that before we put it together, because I want pictures of this in bare metal, and I don't want a blue grill on there. So we may sand it down and get that primed and then put everything together, or I may spend the time, and after we're done with the hood, I may strip that grill. Colleen says strip it. She's like, you have stripped everything else, why are you going to stop with the grill? And I do get it. I do understand that. But I am also, it's not in bad shape. So while we're working on the hood, we'll think a little bit about that grill, and then when the hood is done, we'll take the hood over here. We got to pull the headlights and stuff and blinkers and all that off of there, and then we'll make a decision. The only thing that I know that I would not like about leaving the grill the way that it is that I don't know what's underneath the blue, but I can tell you that everything else that we've stripped off the vehicle, even where there was spots where there was absolutely no body work, the primer and paint was so thick that it was actually cracking. So is the grill like that too? There's some bug just flying in my face. So is the grill like that too? Is it so thick on there that, you know, it would be a bad idea to paint over it? You know, like I said, we're getting there soon, and bugs. Yeah, we're getting there soon, and we'll address it when we get there. So I'm done talking. I'm done getting attacked by bugs. I'll see you guys later. Have a good night. Remember, like, subscribe, share, leave a comment. I'm out.